Hello everyone. How's how have we been doing in the class that we'll be having? Classes we'll be having. Oh wow, we stop as you can see from my screen where we stopped in our last class is by creating our first web page. Now, if you have done this correctly, then congrats. Now, looking at this, you can find out that a professional website does not just look like this. It has to do with a lot of creativity, a lot of layout, design, and all of that. So what I'm going to be teaching you today is how to create websites using table layout, table pattern, so that your work could be laid out and could be structured. Now, if you remember in our class when we talked about web algorithm, I made mention of what web layout. Now, what do we basically mean by web layout? Web layout is the first thing you do before you could start doing what creating your website, which means every site you would like to do, first will get a pen and a piece of paper, draw a sketch of how you want that site to look like on paper, and then you can now determine the height, the width of your site by doing all of this. I'm going to be showing you a preview of a class sample we're going to be working with throughout this class. It's a site that I've done. I just want us to do it together all over again, so you can now use that as a sample of what we can do. Looking at this screen, you can see a site, success. You can see how you do it. This is now when it comes to a website, there are three major parts of a website. One is called the header, which is coming from here down to this place. Called the header. You also have what is called the body. The body is where you have the major content of the website. Then you now have the footer. The footer of a website, what kind of information are you meant to find under the footer? Majorly you're supposed to find the copyright owner, terms of use of the website. Those are the things you need to find. Those are the three major parts of a website: the header, the body, and the footer. So look at this layer properly, and then we're going to be working with it. We're going to be creating a prototype of this throughout this class and all of that. And you can see we're going to do a little modification, like we can add a login, how to create a user login here. We can still leave our latest news there, talk about the website, about us, services, then we put some links and solutions. So we're going to be doing this, so be excited about what we're about to be doing. So looking at this, if you want to design this kind of a site, first of all you get a piece of paper, sketch out this site looks like by saying from here to here, from here to here, the navigation, the body part, and then the footer. Now this is what we're going to be doing. So if we go back to Dreamweaver, now you can see we can just do that kind of site by having an empty place. So what I'm going to do, go to my code view, I'm going to remove everything that we did previously. I'm going to delete it, then I'm going to go back to my design view and save. Now I've actually done my own sketch on paper. I'll show it to you, but firstly let me show you that again so that you can have a look of how this is. So I'm going to do a sketch of this and then use my table layout to not do what, to simply do what, design this. So I want you to follow me closely in this class. Now the first thing I need to do is what is the professional size, or what is the standard size for a website? I mean, what is the width, what is the height? Now the minimum width for a website is 700 pixels. Minimum width for a website, minimum width minimum width minimum width of a website 700 pixels. Now that is very small. So when you're talking about the width of a website, you have to consider screen resolutions. A lot of people have different screen resolution. There are 16.5, there's 15.5, there's 19, 20 inches, and all of those. So you have to make sure that your site should be able to fill up everywhere. Should be able to be properly viewed on each of these devices with various watch resolution. Then the height can be as long as you want it based on the content that you have for the website. You don't do a website that has a very long height, meanwhile the content there are very few. So you work with the content that you have to make sure that your words that you design a particular web dimension. For this our class, For our class, we are going to be use the shortcuts. We're going to be using the following dimension. So we're going to be using the width. The width is what, 950 pixels. Then the height 800 pixels. So these are dimension for the site. So we're going to be using width 950 and then the height, which means everything we're going to be doing from this prototype work is going to be based on that dimension. So from here to here is what is 950, and from here down to this place is what is 800. So that's what we're going to be using. Now what determines how you choose your height and width basically is the manner of content that you have. A client has given you a profile to develop a website for them. So you now look at the structure, and then you now determine your sizes, dimensions based on that content that you already have. Like I said earlier on, the minimum width you could have 700. It doesn't mean you cannot have more than 700, but it should be too small. So 700 is prescribed as the best minimum width for a web page. Alright, talking about creating that, I've actually sketched it down on my paper, so I'm going to be creating it for us using the table. Now, like I said, that the width is 950, and then the height is 800 pixels. What we're going to be doing now, Dreamweaver has several tools to enable you to create tables. One, we have two ways in which you can create tables in Dreamweaver. The first way you can do is by using the insert menu here. Go to your insert, and then you click on what, table, or use your shortcut Ctrl-Alt-T to create a table. You now have the different table width and column and all of that, but we're not going to be using this particular table because of the layout that I've actually shown you just now. I'm talking about creating things that looks like this, which means you don't necessarily need to go and be creating websites. Now when you look at your website, what are the things that you can find on the website? One, I just mentioned the bodies, the header, the body, and the footer. Now on the header you have something called a banner. This is called a banner. This image you're seeing now is called a banner, or an advert image. You also have something that is called the logo. You can see from here is the logo. So from up down to this place. Now you also have navigations. Navigations are the buttons that help you to move from one part of the website to another. And then navigations also normally tells you how many pages your website is. Looking at this now, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means basically we're going to have 6 pages website. So with this that we have, we're going to be talking about minimum 6 pages website. So from this navigation up, they are objects that make up the header of a website, while from welcome to our website down to this area is all made up of your body, and then the below here is all made up of your footer. Now for a professional website, 2 parts out of this 3 parts of a website or web page must be the same on every other page. That means if you create a page called About Us, 2 out of these 3 parts I've mentioned, the header, the body, and the footer must be the same. For every other part of the website, the header and the footer must be the same. What changes is the body, because each page has different body content. So they cannot have the same body content, but they can have, but they can have the same header and the same footer, which means you have your logo, you have a banner. It might not be this, that's a banner for contact. You can do another design for banners. I'm going to taking you through on how you can create these banners, how you can create these navigations, and how you can create your background images and your background colors. So sit tight as we go on in this class. Alright, so we're going to be using what is called a layout table. So if you look at this on the insert menu bar, not again insert menu, but talk about layout menu. Now layout is specifically used to create tables. Now in layout table, so we're going to be talking about standard view and expanded view. We have something that's called a layout view. Now this view you are seeing right now under layout is called the standard view. The expanded view magnifies your scene, it makes it more bigger, but that is not actually how it is. So when you click on expanded view, you have expanded table mode, so you click exit to go back to your standard mode. Standard mode is the actual mode where you are. But for us to be able to create table using our layout table, what we need to do is what we go to a layout mode, which we already have standard mode here, expanded mode. So to go to layout mode, you simply press what, alternate F6 on your keyboard. So alternate F6 on your keyboard. So note that to switch to a layout mode, press alt plus F6 on your keyboard. Sure you've done that. Press to switch to a layout mode, press alt plus F6 on your keyboard together, and then you get back to layout mode. Now when you're in layout mode, look up on that layout panel, you see two icons. Now this is applicable to those who are using Dreamweaver 8 or 3. That is why I recommend for you to use in this class, preferably use Adobe CS3 with Dreamweaver. It will be better for you. Then after you now learn this class, you can move to other higher version of Dreamweaver. Alright, because when you get to other higher version, you might not be able to see these two icons, but your ideas or your knowledge here will not be able to enable you to do something else in higher version of what, of Dreamweaver. Alright, we're talking about div when we get there. Alright, so we have two icons left. I can see my mouse all over them. First one is called the draw layout table. Now this two is where enable you to create a table, but the table you create in this layout mode with your layout 2 cannot accept content. What do I mean? What do I mean cannot accept content? For if I click on it and I come here and I just draw a table like this table that I've created, I cannot add anything to it because why, I am still in the layout mode. So looking at our work that we're doing, we started by having this, which is what we have. So we need to create our first major content. If you look at our 5 steps to create a website, we said what, sketch your site layout, which you've done. Second tip, we said what, create content container, web content container. That is what we're about to create. So we're going to be creating a container that will be where we're going to be placing all this individual content for our web page. So like we all said earlier on, that the size of this our website is going to be what, the dimension will be what, 950 by what, by 800. So having created this, I'll go to my property inspector and then modify it by typing in the width 950 and then going to the height and I type what, 800. Then I press my enter. I've just created my layout, my first table on that table. Now if you look at it, scrolling down, scrolling up, see it is one-sided, so we need to centralize this our table. And how do we centralize our table? Is by going to standard mode. So if you go to your standard mode, the table is selected, go to your property inspector, you see align, select align and then center. You automatically find out what your table is now aligned. So what do you do in this case? We go back to our layout mode again by pressing alternate F6, which takes us back to to our table. Which takes us to our table. Alright, now I haven't done this, so you cannot have this that we've just created. Now is the same thing that we have here, which is take your mind off every object you are seeing. Assuming you are seeing the real background of this web content. Now that is what you just created. We just created the container where you're going to put the background image, and every other thing else on it will now be placed on it. So the next thing is what, we go into our banner area where we have our logo. So we're going to be creating a container where we're going to keep our logo and all of this. So we go back to a particular place, and to do that we actually measure that particular dimension to be 100. So we click on our layout table again and create another table on it, which will now make 950 by we make it about 950 by by 100. So whatever by 950 will make it 100. Note by 100. So this is where going to be category for our logo. Those things that we already have up will not be what will not be here. Now if you look at our prototype we are working with, you can see that we have the logo from here down to this place. So if you see, because the below image you are seeing is the background image, all is down. Look at where the content starts from, where you have this logo, this line, and this content. So that is the 100 we just created. Now so that the background image there can appear, so what we can need to do, we can move this down by pressing by moving the table down a little, so we can have our table that way. Now the next that follows it is the object that follows it, which is this image is called a banner. And as I mentioned, we've looked at it, and it's by dimension that I've scheduled myself, we're going to be taking, because it did not start from the beginning of the page to the end, start from one part of it to the other, so we should have space. So instead of having a 950, we're going to be having 900 width, and then the height will be 250 pieces. So this is what we're going to do. Simply basically come here, and then you create your table. Simply come here, and then you say say 900 it's a 900 by 250. I'm sure we can see that 900 by 250. Then you take it up, as you can see. So all you need to do now is to balance the space between here. If you have 950, the total width is 950. We're not having 900, which means here is supposed to be 25 and here is supposed to be 25. So how do we get that to be 25? It's by doing a measurement style that I learned. It's created another table here that should be 25 in width. So if I make this 25 in width, which means it is 25 now, I can simply move this back. So moving this back, you can see it is now balanced. So I have 25 here, I have 25 here. So that is another trick you can use. So I can now delete this table. Now you see the way I've measured this, I've positioned this on the right corner here and on the right corner here. So all I need to do is to just move the table up to join. So you see, this is what we created. This is the up, this is where we have our banner. So look at this, and then look at the adverts created. So it's starting from here, so there's a space here, there's a space here. Are we there? Then we'll continue. The next other thing we will now create is what we call our navigation. So we've done the header, we've done the navigation, and then the next thing we'll be doing is to create our navigation, which is the next object that you can see under here. So the first we created is this area. We've just created the container that where we're going to put this banner, these images, and the next thing is to do is to create the next one, which is our navigation structure, where these our navigation buttons will be. And to do that, you also see that the size starts from directly under here too, and is 40 900 by 40. So you see, automatically when you create a table like that, you see it makes the work more easier. You see your pages are now being created automatically. So you see, so we have our header, we have the body, and then we now have the navigation, where the navigation will be. All right, now the next thing I need to do, which is now we've now finished creating the header section, because we said that the head section is from your header back to your banner and then to your navigation. So what we've just created just now is the head section. Now the next thing we'll do before we start creating, so what remaining for us based on our prototype is we've done from here down to this place. We now have the header and the footer. But before we go into that, before we do the body, we'll create the footer. So what is now left is so to create the footer, you come to the bottom part of the page, create another of your table using your layout table, remember, and then start from here also, and then you make it 950 by 950 by 60. That is the 950 by 50. Then you press your enter. So this is the table, you move it down. You can increase it by saying 55. sorry, as an error. You can move it back again and say what, 55. Then you press enter, then you move the table down. So we now have the footer. We have the footer created. So all we now have left is also we've created the header, the banner, and then the navigation structure. So now to start creating is what is the body content. Let's go back to our prototype and take a look at it. Now our body content is divided into three. You can see where we have the welcome to our website is this is one segment, about us, this is another segment, and then we have latest news, this is another segment. Remember that there's a little space between the navigation and the web content. Then also have where we have services, our link, solutions, and then we now have what the latest news together. So how we basically need to do is what we have two categories now, the first this area and then the latest news category. So what we're going to do, we're going to modify as we'll make the latest news always just up, and then the bottom part we can just put member login. So we're going to be creating that as we go on in the class. That's just like a modification because of your class. So what we'll do, since the dimension we are working with is 900, because everything starts from 900, not 950, so that there can be space here. So we're going to be creating another container that will be 350, that's the width, 350, and then the height will be 150. So 350, the height will be 150. So you can see there's a little space. It starts from that same end. So this will be where we'll have our welcome to our website. Then the next one we're going to create will be another container that we can call, that will be 250 by 150. So or we can say 300 300. See how the width is. No, so we'll go back to 250 by what, by 150. Then we can now have our latest news area to be 200. So create another container here that will be from here down. It will be what, you now what, another what, 250. So here we are going to have our latest news. Here we have our about us. So we can do this, we can have 200. So we can have, so we have 350, 250, 250 plus 250 will give 500, plus 350 will give you 850. So we have the spaces in between add up to give you what, total of 900. So the next we'll create now is the order. So we've just finished creating this section, welcome to our website, about us, latest news. So we're going to be creating the next one where we have what, services, link, solution, and then our member login. So that's the next place we're going to be doing. So by simply coming here, and then we'll start directly under here also, and then we can create this to be what, to be let's say 250. So noting them down, 250 by 100. Then go to the next one, create another one, another, say 200. Then create another container, I can call it 150 is 140. So I can move this back a little, and then drag this to have what, 158. Then we'll now come back under here to create a little area where we can now use for our member login. So we can create this to be 120. So here will now be for our member login, here will be for our services link. So looking at the prototype, we have services link, the solutions that we render will be what will be inside here, while here will be our member login, where members who have access to a particular area can enter your username and password there and log in. So these are the containers that we just created. Now take a look at this and take a look at this prototype that we have and tell me if they're not the same. Just like you want to build a house, you have to draw the plan, then go to the land, you have to dig your plans, and then first start building. You have your rooms. That's what we just did just now. So this is how to create your web layout. This is called web layout. I gave you 5 algorithms. I said first of all, you sketch your site layout. Now this site layout is what you are seeing here now that I have created on a piece of paper. Now I also give you an assignment. Go to any website that you like, look at the website layout, and then pick a piece of paper and sketch it on a paper for yourself and see how it looks. And then start to create exactly what we've just done. Now it will help you. So this is what we've just done. So this is where we have our header, where we have the banner, the navigation, and then we now have what we have our our body, where we have welcome, about us, our latest news. This is the container where we're going to be putting all that. We now have our what services, our links, and then the solutions that we have, then our member login, and then finally we have our we have our footer here. So when you've done this, you can now go back to your standard view and then take a look on how your web pages look like, and then you can now see what all we now need to do is now prepare your content. So you can now save your file by going to your file menu, then you click on on save. So you see that it is now better than the previous. So you now have the layout that looks like this. Now what's the next thing to do after you've done this is to now start getting ready all the materials you need, all your web content. What are web content? They are the content you add to your website. One of them is picture, one of them is text, one of them is music, video, or flash animation. These are the things you now be adding to your website. Now take your time, practice what we just talked about. We will end this class today. We'll meet in our next class. We'll now start creating each of the content that we'll be adding inside these objects one after the other by creating the graphics for the web pages. All these graphics, we'll now start creating them together, and then I'll be showing you what you need to create them. Any question, you can still send it to us through SMS on 08091961093, or you can send us a mail at mike@gmail.com. Alright, we'll be glad to hear from you, or you can send us through enquiry@mazikskills.com. That's our website. So we'll be expecting to see you soon. God bless you.